Now, live from Washington, D.C., giving you perspective from both sides of the aisle, it's Benson and Harf.
It is Wednesday, November 7th, one day after the midterm elections of 2018. I'm Marie Harf, here with Guy Benson. We are Benson and Harf, coming to you from New York City tonight. We had a fun night last night, 3 hours of doing the show live from 6 to 9 p.m. And in the next segment, we're going to go through some of our specific predictions we made earlier in the week, Monday, before the elections yesterday. But we haven't had a chance to really talk through our general perceptions of last night. Now we've had 24 hours to digest what's happened. And, you know, I think it's an interesting sort of a mixed bag. Democrats did very well in the House. And the sort of silver lining, Guy, that I'm taking away from the House is that my party, competed in a lot of states and races where we haven't for a long time. We took a bunch of New York seats in places that we hadn't fielded a candidate for a long time, a good candidate. New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Virginia really, and Michigan were very strong for us. Iowa as well, 2 pickups there. But even places like Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, these are places that we saw in the metropolitan areas that are conservative leaning but don't like President Trump. They came through. Charleston, South Carolina, that district flipped. Oklahoma City, that district flipped. Houston, there are other cities in Texas. So those metropolitan areas really came through for Democrats in some interesting ways last night. On the Senate side, I was very surprised. The Democrats didn't do as well as I thought they would. I was surprised the margins were so large in some of these states. And I was pretty happy with the governor's races. But one of the interesting parts about last night was in my mind, there weren't any massive surprises, massive upsets, massive, things that went against the conventional wisdom. There were a couple of surprises, but nothing like Donald Trump in 2016.
Yeah, no, and that the point I made on Fox News Channel last night at around 10:30 or 10:45 was what characterized the 2016 election was a shock to the conventional wisdom, whereas last night's election was basically the conventional wisdom, where Democrats were going to do well in the House, they were going to do well in suburban districts, they were going to perform better among governorships, and the Republicans had a good map in the Senate. And that's basically how it played out. As you know, my focus has been on the Senate, so I was extremely pleased with the outcomes, with Cruz hanging on in Texas and Marsha Blackburn winning in Tennessee. It looks like maybe slightly better than not odds that Martha McSally will hang on in Arizona. So of the really important contested races, the only one that went the wrong way from my perspective was Nevada. And then picking off Democratic incumbents in North Dakota, which was no surprise, and then really trouncing Joe Donnelly in Indiana, beating Claire McCaskill soundly in Missouri, and then Rick Scott, the magician, again pulling a 1-point rabbit out of the hat and being elected to the United States Senate to replace Bill Nelson. These were all...
Now, that is going, as of right now, that may go to a recount, that Bill Nelson race, but still.
I mean, and Nelson's conceded. And so I think that those were...
But it does look like there will be a recount.
So the
a legally required recount. And what's interesting, Guy, to me is the map is changing. The map changed in 2016. And this happens, right? One of the first states Bill Clinton won was Kentucky or Louisiana. Mm-hmm. The map changes.
Realignment.
States change, right? That culturally and politically. I think we're going through a period like that right now.
Definitely.
And both parties have to figure out what that means.
Look at Republicans clinging on in places like Arizona and Georgia. Look at Republicans.
Actually, I'll hold on. See who's there. Who's this?
Really,
but just barely.
Who's this?
Ohio doesn't really look like a swing state these days. It just looks like the red state.
Okay, Jimmy's on. You and I are. I'll go ahead and bring
Yeah, but everything else went the other way.
But a senator in a state Trump won by 8 points.
Yeah, but all the other statewide offices stayed Republican. So there's a lot of realignment going. My goal, and I'd said this all along, was to keep the Republican majority intact.
Hey, friends, welcome to Lines Live, the only network built by the players to the fans. Here on a nice, crisp, cool Wednesday night here in State College, Magna Broadcasting Studios. We got the Grizz, Jimmy Kennedy, the big dude, Stephen Davis, Jacob Israel, I'm sure will be joining us, and DJ Dozier out there. Wanted to be with us, but his son has his last game tonight. So he'll be out at his football game, so wish him all the best. And we're here talking Penn State football. My name's Skip Rabelvis. This is the most fun I get to have during the week here, and it's more fun I should be allowed to have. It's great coming in here talking football with guys I love. So it's going to be a lot of fun, even though it's a disappointing week here for us regarding Penn State's last performance with Michigan. But, there's always hope for the future, and that's what we're going to talk about. But we're also going to give a nice recap of some things we noticed here during the game. So, Jimmy, what can I say, man? That's just that we got it handed to us, buddy. We got it handed to us.
Yeah, you know what? I just think the time is catching up with us. Honestly, we lost the offense coordinator and stuff. The defense, I think the guys are just focusing on sacks. We don't have no desire to go out there and stop the run. I know Trace after the previous performance, he actually came back into the game and, did well. I just think he wasn't healthy enough to really carry us, for this game. I mean, Michigan, like they talked about the whole game, they're on a redemption tour and so on. So we embarrassed them a year ago, and it was just payback time for the most part. I didn't think the guys were going to score at all, so that was a rough one. That was a tough one to watch.
Yeah, it was a really difficult game to watch. I'll tell you what, I give Michigan credit. They played some good ball. They've been playing good ball. They reminded me of the Penn State of old, because when we would get the ball, we just get the ball and we would drive that ball and until they forced us to pass. They got that ball in possession and didn't do one pass play. Just said, we're coming at you and we're going to make you stop us with a run.
But I think they put the blueprint out there. I mean, Penn State was already suspect for the most part this year, but they put the blueprint out there for other teams to be able to beat us. If you look at the game that we lost, it was basically the same situation. We couldn't get off the field in third down. We couldn't stop the run.
Right. And like I've said throughout this year, it seems like we've been like a one-dimensional offense with one guy who's now running with a limp. And it's going to be tough. I mean, it's going to be tough. Just different situations and times during the game. I thought to myself, why are we doing this? We have a quarterback who's got a running on a spare tire. We have another quarterback in on the same play. And I'm like, why do you want to have two guys? I mean, if one has to go down, then we're really hurting for the next man up. So why do you want to send your second string quarterback out to run out of pass? You got some great recruits here who are specialized in receiving and catching footballs, or running backs who can block, or tight ends. I'm thinking like the gimmick play stuff is not going to get you there. All right, we need to get back to the basics. We got to get back here where we can actually sustain a long drive running the football. And
I totally agree, Skip. I just think here's what reality is. I think reality is guys lost confidence in each other. It's guys who we used to call them back in the day practice All-Americans. Everyone was great in practice, but when game time comes, guess what? Those passes that aren't contested in practice are being contested during the game, and our guys aren't making any catches. Yeah. So if you look at this season, for the most part, if Trace carried us, that's the only way we won offensively.
Right.
I think Miles had probably maybe I want to say 2 solid games where he was actually the featured back and looked great. But overall, like Michigan State, he was nowhere to be found. He couldn't run the ball or anything like that. So now I just think even going into this game right now, this Wisconsin game, who can honestly say right now that they expected Juwan Johnson to come out and be a star and be a stud? KJ, since he hit his head or so on and had the concussion, hasn't played. He played solid, but he hasn't played the way he was playing at the beginning of the season. And like you said, it's one-dimensional now because, Trace, if he's not running the ball, who's he going to? KJ. So they double covering them, and they lock down and putting their best guy on him, and so on. And Jawan is nowhere to be found, and our tight end isn't proven yet.
Right. Yeah, Stefan, what do you think?
Well, I think we all played much. The middle of the 90s, I didn't see the first play of the game. It's the wrong thing. Maybe it was too late by the time I got there. I mean, I heard every other thing, Skip, and I really just saying, for the state of it, you know, it's talking about style, man. It was about attitude. I think that's where Jimmy comes from. I mean, when you start talking about people making plays, you know it's not going to be really looking anything, just statistics things. And it says that somebody got a spot every single game, like Jimmy said. It's like, you know what? That's all good. It's all good for the media. That's good. Everything else is just so different. And to be honest with you, like you said, Jimmy, it's correct. I mean, it's an offense that also is high risk and it's got us in other places. I mean, we had some other folks. That's it. I really thought about, like you said, Jimmy, I really do with the confidence and the effort. And I think it's such a still different than down here in the league. I think those things are communication. You just didn't see it. I mean, you really need to know a lot about football when you're with that objective. Because you just really up and see any confidence or communication. I mean, I'm very basic. I don't really have anything to do with people who disagree. That would be easy out there, man. Sometimes you don't realize, sometimes you just agree with people, man. And I don't know so much. And we got to decide, who the best positions and we got to decide if the coach is young enough to play. That's it. If he's not young enough to play, he should not be playing. I mean, we're not, it's not that we're not playing for it, they're really playing the coaches. We're playing what else we're playing out. We're students who can do the stuff that we're playing on the drive. And I know it's not really easy to do anything. Obviously, we set out. But I'm saying coming in, we're busy in the it's still on the season, and it's still coming to do that. So I can that's the next thing. That's kind of what all the positions in the all the right offense. And we got to come up with expecting to do well. As when I saw the game again, that I just did not see that the people were expecting to do well. I just didn't see it. You don't come out there expecting to do well, and you won't do well. I mean, that's what I saw. Like I said, when I got to the game, it was 14-0. And again, I heard about the block field goal, the red call back, and all that. Well, actually, even with that momentum, it just that should open up the door for something. It just when I looked at the game, they opened up the door for much because they weren't too sure. They weren't going to. As I said, we can talk about the whole I just didn't see the updating. It was just a little, over the years of TV, let's say, it just football, they want communication. But the update just was not good. Man!
Yeah. Hey, Stefan, I appreciate everything you're saying, and I'm catching a good bit of it. I think your microphone is a little bit muffled there with you on that one.
Okay, I'm going to try to walk out of the office.
Oh, no, you're good. You're good. You're really good now. So,
okay.
Hey, folks, folks, we are not a podcast, so this isn't pre-recorded, so this is live. So you get it the way it comes, and it's all good. Now, Stefan Davis there sharing us some thoughts here at Penn State, recapping Michigan coming in. And don't let me interrupt you there, buddy. Continue on.
No, again, I'm sorry for the microphone. I have a headset on, and I'm trying to do some things and get out of the office. We had a very tough thing to go out. We'll know all later. But, basically, I just did not see the effort. I saw people not communicating. We just didn't see good football. Like Jimmy said, I guess people have a different idea. But when you're a playmaker, I mean, that's great. You can count sacks and do a number of other things. But really, if you can't, like you said, Skip, sustain a drive, like Jimmy said, I think you said get off the field when you need to. But gosh, I just felt like they were target practice after it was 21-0. I didn't understand that. I
Hey, big dude. You know what the thing is, big dude. Here's what it is. I'm a week off, but if you think about it, just a couple of weeks ago when we had our first loss, I told you the mindset of guys. I told you guys that the guys act like there was nothing to play for, national championship or bust, and so on. And then after the second loss, it was like, what are we going to do? But after that Ohio State loss, I felt like the team was falling apart. And remember, I came on air and I said it. I was just like, man, I was talking to the guys, and I'm just like, what do you mean? Like, it was teams who played with one loss for national championships. I'm not saying that it's hard. I mean, it's easy, but, go out there and keep fighting. So now it's just like obviously that next week I picked them to lose, and they actually pulled it off. But then, you just, this week there it is, they go out there and they put up that kind of performance. I just feel between, like I said before, social media, the different stuff that's going on, everyone's more concerned about, like, it's basketball. You go 1 year and you can turn and you can go pro, whereas it's just a development. Like, when I talk to the players who's even considering leaving and different stuff and stuff, I'm just like, don't you want to be a complete player? Like it's not about actually if a person is talented enough. It's about actually being complete. Like, I'm thinking about being in the NFL if that's what you want to do for the long haul, not just 3 years, like not just in and out, but actually know how to play the run in the pass, and I don't think we have guys, with exception to a young guy like Etor, he's solid, but, he still has a lot to learn too. He still could be better with his hands and different stuff, and in terms of effort and so on. As far as our offensive line, we can't really judge them, or we can't really give them a grade because they're not doing the Penn State things of old. They're not going out there running powers and dives and leads and everything else and so on. They're running, like Skip said, they're running gimmicks and trick plays. So it's not a mono thing where you just line up and let's see what you're about.
Right.
Because that's what Michigan did. They lined up and they said, let's see what you're about. It's 4th and 1. It's 3rd and 2. Stop us. And you know what we're going to do. We're gonna have a fullback out here. You know what we're going to do. We're going to motion the tight end, and we're running to the strength. What are you going to do? Right. And it was nothing we can do.
Right. Or they'll come with
nothing.
Three tight ends. Put in 3 tight ends.
Yes. Yeah. They didn't try to trick us and say anything like, hey, whatever. They took it back to Big Ten football and ran the ball down our throat. There was nothing we could do. They had 13 plays, 92 yards, and a touchdown. They was going mano a mano.
Yeah.
And if you ain't ready for that, I don't know what to say.
Yeah. Right. Well said. Hey, Yakov, what are your thoughts? I heard.
Hey, folks, how you guys doing? Oh, no, Hey. So I guess I wanted to ask you guys, obviously, we've talked a lot about Ohio State. A lot of people, talking about Ohio State, and then, then we said, okay, well, Michigan State, okay, well, Indiana, Iowa, and then everybody's like, well, we got to wait until Michigan game, and, we'll have to see. Michigan will tell us, so I'm just wondering, what do we get from the Michigan game? And then I also want to see, as far as, like, there was some frustrations on the sideline, and there was, a couple starters, running and type of thing, screaming, that type of thing. Now, I just wanted to see what you guys thought. Like, do you feel that type of behavior, like we saw some Tommy Manziel type of stuff, does that need to be disciplined? Or is that something where, it's because I'm just wondering if that's going to open the gate for other guys to do it, or if somebody else does, we're going to discipline them, or what did you guys, I don't know if you saw any of that, but, a couple of the guys on the team, was kind of like getting out of line with their, just sportsmanship. So, like directing it towards the coaches. You know what it is? In terms of that, I would like to say that Coach But in terms of, we've all played the game, and I'm one of those guys who, and everyone doesn't have to be like me, obviously, but I'm one of those guys who respected a player like T.O. Because when it's all said and done, if you look at a player like T.O., he just wanted to win. It was nothing else more important than winning. I don't care if he wanted the ball. I don't care about all the extra stuff and so on. I'm not talking about the guys want to show up to play and he's going to win. So when it becomes a thing of coaches making certain calls and a guy's competitive spirit, you'll never lose me when it comes there. Tommy Stevens being upset that he went out there and threw an interception and so on. No one talked about it. When they go back out there and fight, and, they want everyone coming around him, it'll be all right, letting it go and so on. It's been plenty of games, even when we had losing seasons and winning seasons, that I wanted to kill Scrap. Like, Scrap, what are you doing? Why am I popping to contain? Like, what's happening? Like, why am I containing? Like, I'm a 3 technique. Let me go to work. Like, why am I over here holding contain and holding it up? Because, so Mike Haynes can come on the other side or something or whatever. Like, let's go to work. You know what I'm saying? Why are we running this stunt when I'm killing this guy going forward? So, it's still the level of competition. Once that's going, I mean, the competitive nature, once that's going, you shouldn't be like, oh, nah, don't fight. I want to see you guys fight. I want to see you guys be upset. I want guys to go out there and practice and so on the way they was, the way they're capable of practicing, so we can actually go out there and win. And even if it's not just this year, even if it's like, my son's 12 years old. He just started playing basketball. He's almost 6 foot, but he just started playing basketball. I mean, organization basketball, right? And organized basketball. And he has the frames, but when he's out there, he still doesn't have the little techniques. Because I know the techniques and stuff. I'm like, oh my God, put your hands up, do this, do that, so on. I don't say much to him. I just sit back and watch. When I ask Coach after the practice, I say, hey, Coach, what does he have to work on? He said, the guy's going to be a monster. He says, right now, I'm just making sure he gets used to using his body and, get used to, hustling and doing certain things. But overall, he has it. And what I mean by that, the reason why I told that story is because right now, we should be looking at our young guys, and we should be seeing what their potential is. And we should be knowing it's not just about going out there being a guy, but it's actually not just working and trying to have a solid this year, but also preparing for the future. We got some young guys that need experience and everything else. Let's get it. Let's help build their confidence up and everything else. So next season, we don't have none of these concerns or none of these worries. We just got guys going out there playing great ball.
Right. Yeah, that's well said, Jimmy. I'm on board with that, and I'm concerned for the rest of this season and how we play. I can appreciate the passion. We're talking about passion, all right? And I love the passion, being passionate about what you do. That personal pride that expresses itself. Sometimes good, and sometimes we get frustrated ourselves, but I don't mind that. It's when you see, and again, I can't say the situation because I didn't see it at Cove, but what I was wondering was it geared towards a matter of respect or towards the coach or something like that? Again, I don't know the situation, but I think I sense there's probably a frustration within the team with the coaches, wondering, saying, look, we know we got this talent. Why isn't it translating into performance in the field? And I think that's where the staff needs to try to, go back and reevaluate themselves and go through a reformation and say, hey, does this offense work? Will this offense work? Do we want to be this type of offense? Do we have the personnel and people to do it? Because we saw when Coach Franklin first came here, the quarterback, he was not built for this type of offense he wanted to run. And we struggled. We struggled with it. And it was bad for everybody. So, we need to go back and look and say, does a West Coast style run and shoot type of offense work in the Big Ten, or is it power football like it's always been, and that's what's gonna win? What's winning big out there? And we gotta go back and look at it all over again. And it's great to have some gimmick play. If we're gonna have a run option offense, well, then let's do be like Georgia Tech and get a quarterback who's an option quarterback and start running that ball. Because if you cannot run the football, it's just not gonna go well in college football today.
Hey, based off of here's what I think the situation is, Skip, and I'm not sure if I'm 100% right. I'm just throwing it out there. I think we actually wanted to change our offense, possibly, but because we had Trace going into his last year, we didn't do it. Because, right now everything is featured around him, but I think we really want to change it. But being that our quarterback is used to that, do we really want his last year to be something new that he's trying to learn and do and so on? And then even in going forward, I'm not sure if they'll give Tommy Stevens that same respect or so on, or that same situation. If he's the starting quarterback next year, which most likely he will and should be. Even though I like the young guy, number 14 off top, I can't think of his name, but it's number 14. I like him. I like, what he did when Tommy wasn't available in those couple of games. He went out there and threw a bomb touchdown and stuff and played solid, for a freshman. So I think that we will switch over here eventually. And I'm not sure if it'll be like a power style, but I think we'll probably have a quarterback that's under center and possibly a fullback or so on, or, some other options.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you this, though. Just kind of jumping in on that real fast. Would you say that would entail a new offensive-minded coach, or do you feel that's something that, has not been seen that can be developed, or what would you say?
I think that based off of us we just lost our old coach. We just lost our offensive coordinator. So I think, given the fact that, like I said, because Trace was coming back, I think they just kept that offense in place. But I think we have a like-minded, new offensive coordinator who can actually do his own thing instead of running with Penn State is already used to. If that makes sense. Like, if they back off now and say, hey, you know what? Go ahead. What do you want to do? And let him implement his system, I think they'll be fine.
Yeah, turn them loose. Yeah. Turn them loose. Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I personally love an option offense. I mean, I love Georgia Tech, and I love, I love the wishbone and teams that run that type of running type of offense. It works. But you don't see many teams doing it. But it's great when you do, because these guys here are going to get the biggest guys they can, and they're going to come right at you. And and I love it. I mean, that's what I think football is about. I mean, but I'm just that old school type of guy. I mean, passing's nice and every now and again, some gimmick plays here and there. But my concern all along this year has been him getting hurt, which has happened now. My concern again when I saw Saturday with having both quarterbacks out there, one running as a receiver, if they did anything to him, putting him in a position where he can get hurt. We need to be wise with personnel, and we need to strategically get guys in there. Now, my question is, with these games are remaining and the new eligibility rules that they have, will we start to see some of these fresh faces come in and not burn that year of eligibility to get them that experience like you talked about, Jimmy? Are they planning right now?
Okay, so I don't know about that new rule. What's that rule?
I think there's the rule where they can have like 1 or 2 games they can have appearances in and not burn up that year.
Okay, gotcha.
So I forget how many it was, but I mean, I would have a chart saying, and I'd map out my games the rest of this season and the bowl, saying these are guys I want to get some experience to ramp up for the next year, and I'd be scheming my game around getting these guys some experience, and of course getting our seniors, everybody who's been out there who's earned the opportunity to play, get them the experience, because this season, let's face it, it's pretty well spent. I mean, right now we're playing for personal pride and a bowl, all right, and that's it. So let's do. I
think we have a bowl, a good bowl, a decent bowl.
Well, we can, but we don't watch out. We may be back to the blue bonnet,
Yeah.
And I remember that game. That was like, man, who heard the Blue Bonnet Bowl? Well, that's and some of these other ones.
Chick-fil-A bowl.
Chick-fil-A's got a nice bowl. But they're out there. They do. But like I'm talking like that Tax Slayer Bowl and what's that one down there? What's that other one down there in the Bahamas or something? Where's that one at? Jamaica or somewhere? You know.
Hey, I'm going to those.
You know, that'd be all
I'm there.
Yeah, that'd be a nice.
Yeah, I'm there.
But
the Bahama Bowl.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, the last one you didn't want to go to, and I feel bad for anybody who goes to it. Pinstripe.
Pinstripe Bowl.
Oh, you're playing in the blizzard, man. That would not be a fun bowl to play in, man. That's playing in the ice box. Until they need to build a get out there by Stefan's place and build a big stadium out there with a roof on it to play indoors or something, you know, because that outdoor stuff in near January and the Northeast, man, you might as well forget it, man. That is just it's not gonna work. So, wow. Well, you know, enough said about, you know, I guess Michigan. I mean, they're a tough team. They had the ball for almost 40 minutes out of the 60. You know, the turnovers killed it. I mean, we did everything. We did all the things that Joe told us not to do. Turn the ball over and you know, defense, special teams, and offense. You know, that's what wins games. So just to kind of, you know, we got to turn that all around. So we'll see what happens. You brought up good points about you know, Trace being his last year and what type of offense are we really going to let the new coordinator do his own thing, or you know, those are questions I wish the media would ask the coaches, because we don't know. We're only speculating here. You know, we're behind the scenes because we all had a little experience of the ball game, right? So we're trying to think to ourselves, is this coordinator really running the offense he wants, or is we just doing this to meet the personnel that we have? And a good coach will do that. Good coaches will exploit the talents and abilities of everybody who's there. So you know, we'll certainly find out. And big dude left us here for just a minute or two, but he'll be back here. We'll get to some of our picks here shortly. But if he's not back here already, that's great. So anybody else want to wrap up anything else on this Michigan game on us or not? Any other things that are noted?
Yeah, it was just one other thought I would say. You know, that I feel. You know, it's a tough case, but time of possession was 37 minutes and 56 seconds for Michigan and 22 minutes and 4 seconds for Penn State. So I just feel like that's something where, you know, when we look at each game, we're almost averaging like 10 to 15 minutes where we're losing that time of possession. You know, and we're not really. I'm trying to see if you know, like, what do we have to do in order to win that battle, or is it just right now the dynamic is that just not part of our, you know, thought process. You know, thought process. Like, I'm wondering, like, what do we got to do to win that time of possession battle?
Well,
So,
what do you guys you know the answer to that. You know the answer to that.
Right at the ball.
Right.
Yeah, just being able to run the ball. Yeah.
Right. I mean,
you know, I'm just wondering if it's something where we're trying to control the clock with the pass.
You can't.
You know, or is that just the way that the offense is designed, is to control the clock with the pass? Or, you know, or what do you guys think? Because I just feel like that's always going to be a crucial thing in the Big Ten is the time of possession. In Wisconsin, they're going to want to win the time of possession.
Well,
you know, so
they run the ball.
Obviously, if they get the lead, you know they're going to want to hold the ball and pound the ball and milk the clock. So, you know, I just feel like that's something, you know, we got to I would like to see how we can overcome that. So, you know, that's what they're going to run the ball down our throat.
Yeah, very right, yeah. Jimmy, you're right on. Right on. That's exactly what's going to happen. Michigan got the number, and it's like I said all along, man. And they didn't even put 5 guys up, but you put 5 guys up, or you just you know we're one dimensional. You come after that one person, and that's it. Yeah.
So they're going to spend the whole game going after Trace and make someone else beat them. And right now, I don't think we have the confidence to where our running back is going to be able to go out there and be a game breaker the way we would like him to be. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah. So, we know, oh, man. And, if we look back at our season here, I mean, look at the games we've won, how close they've been. I mean, we played some good teams, but look at the teams. If it could have gone the other way, this season could have been a disaster. It could have been a disaster.
But it's not.
Yeah.
But it's not.
We're thankful.
Well,
yeah.
But here's the thing. There's some good things in some of those games, because there are also games where we thought we could have won. But I think that, like Jimmy said, I think where I'm at is looking at the youth. I think we got to remember that. It's not going to. And nobody realized, I guess everybody had a different idea how this was going to come together, and Trace or not. I mean, we got to get people to play like they need to play, even though people will say for sure there's a lot to be taken from this Solaki over there. There's a lot to be taken from it. Does it mean we get entertained anymore? No, we don't. But, I've been on the other side. I mean, that's one thing about being, national championship too. We went 2 seasons. We were in the regular season. Then my last year, the redshirt senior year, which I wonder, like, why did nobody even buy it? I mean, Syracuse, they beat us 28-21. But they didn't quit. They were up 28-0 before we knew it was 28-21. When they sniped us later. But there's got to be something. There's got to be. They talk about the grit. So social psychologists talk about the non-cognitive part for the people out there. Suck it up and get things done. They just gotta suck it up. We gotta get some more grit. And the coaches, no coach can give you that. And that's how we gotta decide who's going to work. And that's all it is too. And that's not calling anybody out necessarily.
I'm calling them out, big dude.
The whole team. No, what I'm saying is nobody in particular. No, me too. Listen, what I'm saying is there's nobody in particular. I'm not going to name people or who could have done this and who could have done that. Because, I'm calling them out, man. If something I can tell you early, Skip, on my fix, I simply cannot pick Penn State this week. I can't.
Yeah.
I cannot. And I can't pick them because they have to convince me. They've never had to convince me.
Yeah.
And seeing that, the heartbreaking part about it was, it's kind of, I agree with what you said, Jimmy, about TO and all those other things. And some people who are TO, I think what people have to realize, TO didn't always play like that. We saw a 28, 29-year-old TO. That's why it's hard to pick a look at he's doing versus these 18 and 19-year-old kids. I want them to learn how to play. And like you said, everybody do what they're supposed to do all the way across on both sides of the ball, both lines, and anything else that happens. And again, Skip, I'm not so sure I agree totally about the whole. We need to run the ball even more. But I think what's going to have to come down to is Trace McSorley is going to have to be a much more effective decision maker. This is the offense we got. He's going to have to really test to find out how good that line is. And sometimes he's going to have to hand the ball off. Right. And if he hands the ball off more, it's the only way we're going to find out whether Miles Sanders can get it done without him. That's the problem. So he's going to have to be back. And that's what we have. We have that type of football in college football. No, Michigan didn't do it. I still think Michigan loses 28-7 against Denver. Yeah, so good for Michigan, and guess what? And we still got to come to State College next year. Now, what I hope is, we just also both coaches and tell both teams, hey, listen, one thing about us getting up behind handed people, calling and tracing all that, hey, you gotta come to State College next year and see if you can play the same. So all those other things, man, I agree with. I just think that now with this Wisconsin game, we've got to put a better effort across the board. But right now, like I said, before we go to picks, I can't pick Penn State. I've never been in that situation all the years I've been on it.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. Let me throw this out there because the team dynamic changes, and we've all been on teams where you see that change. We know when there's that hope of the national championship, there's that more of a team unity there with that hanging out in front of you than when you realize, okay, we're not going to be playing for national championship. then it becomes more internalized about the individual. Okay, well, what do I need to do? Where am I at in my career with football? Where's it at towards me? And the coaches need to bring that back, that team unit back, the dimension back in. And there's a saying we had in the Marine Corps that the first thing you learn when you got on those yellow steps and they drill it into you is this: discipline is the instant will and obedience to all orders, respect for authority, self-reliance, and teamwork. And that is the thing that is the best thing that the coach could have these guys memorize and start implementing in their lives individually and as a team, because that's what makes people work together as a unit. And I think that's that discipline that's what it comes down to. The discipline within your position, the discipline on and off the field. Stephen, you know, Joe always used that word discipline. You got to have discipline. You got to have discipline, you know, and you know that too, Jimmy and Yakov. I mean, those are things that he emphasized, and that's what bred the success here through the good seasons and the bad. I think that's the element I think Coach Franklin needs to focus on, is that discipline. And I'm not talking about corrective action, which is different, okay? Corrective action is when a guy gets out of line, does something wrong, okay? That's correct. I'm talking about discipline. That's just my 2 cents on that one.
Yeah, well, I think what they realized was, I mean, there was a moving point. And we lost the pick my sophomore year. I remember we ended up 6-5, and guess what? We were 6-5 my sophomore year, and guess what? You know, we still got good offers. But you know what Joe said? There is no way in the world that you should be able to, I would respect you, you should be able to respect yourself going to the game and going 6-5. There's no way. And you know what? And people don't know. They were like, yo, the season was over. I mean, we had a good season, we were competitive, or we had 3 big losses, but we had to get to us. And then at the end, emotionally, we just got wiped. Notre Dame beat us 44-6, and then beat us 31-11. You know, and one of the things that Nick Hayden said, who was the captain, he played in the NFL for a while, he said, there's nothing I can say except, hey, it's your team, bro. Whatever you want to do with it, it's your team. And the next year, we went on to go and play for the national championship. But guess what? Those were all those young guys that were finally playing, all those guys that redshirted in 82, 83. So we have some people that are playing right away, and they're tremendous 4-star people. Do they know as a squad what it's going to take? And you know what? There's no way Chase can do that all by himself either. There's no way he can do it. Yeah. You know, maybe he feels like he has to. For him to play like that, he must feel like he has to play like that.
Well, I think he feels like he has to. He's carrying the burden here himself, and
sure.
Yeah, you can see that this kid is wearing the weight of the shoulder is on his shoulders, and that should not be there. That should not be there. So I hope that, you know, some people come up and lift it off and say, look, dude, well, it's not you. So I hope for his own mental well-being that he's able to realize that it's not Semper I, it's Semper Fi, man. Be faithful and let your brother next to you pick you up, and everybody does their part on the team, you know, because you win it, you can't lose it. Yeah.
It's good. Why you gotta bring up mental health, man? Wait a minute. We can get mental health out of all this.
You know, some nuthetic counseling, right? We'll give him some good old nuthetic counseling.
I just don't see the guys playing team ball for the most part.
You're right, Jim.
The individuals out there trying to play for their own flag. That's all it is right now.
Yeah, we broke it down.
Yeah, I think that's a good point.
We broke it down. Yep, we broke it down. I mean, you get it, folks. There you got it. It's all broken down to you. You're getting in ways like you never would anywhere else. So, hey, let's give a review last week here, how we're doing with our picks here. Our fast sound college football, folks. We've already blown through it here already. We got to get down here to talk some of our picks from last week and get into this week here to move forward. And I also talk a little bit about Wisconsin, what we need to do with them. So, looking back last week, guys, here, as our picks went, the person who got the most right, well, yes, thank you very much. I went 5-2, and actually, I was tied with Jimmy.
I was about to say, I don't know. That don't sound right.
Hey, Jimmy, here's. I'll tell you what. We'll start with the leaders first, right, Jimmy?
Uh-huh.
The one you missed was, of course, Penn State. We all missed Minnesota. Every single one of us missed Minnesota.
Yep.
But you and I both picked Purdue over Iowa. And DJ and Stefan and Jacob missed the Iowa pick on that one. Now, the one I missed, the other one I missed, which I was it's a personal thing with these guys. Notre Dame. Everybody.
Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you got me on that one. But I wanted Northwestern. They almost did it, I know.
Yeah, they ball.
They did. They are. And I'll tell you, they play Syracuse coming up here, man. And I hope Syracuse gives them a game. That would be a great upset for Syracuse to knock them off. That's coming up here soon. Syracuse playing good ball, guys. They are. We had a great rivalry we had with them. I love when we played Syracuse. We miss those good old rivalries. The Syracuse and the West Virginia Pitt. All those teams around us here. It'd be nice to get. They'd be much better than Appalachian State and Kent State and some of these others. Much better to play those guys again instead. Bring back the West Virginia and the Pitt and Syracuse. Pick up those games that have some significance to the fans and all of us from Penn State instead of these teams out here. And I'm not saying they're nobody's schools, but they're not the teams that are part of Penn State tradition, Anyway, enough on that. So then, of course, Yakov and Stefan here, they're at 4-3 with missing Iowa, Minnesota, and Illinois. Everybody again missed that one, of course, Penn State too. And DJ was the same, 4-3. So overall, looking at our stats, Stefan and I are actually tied now, 60-22, and really close race because Jimmy's right behind us at 59-23. And, yeah, and Yakov at 57-26. So it's still, we're all one or two winning losses away here. So I may not actually have to buy everybody a hoagie this year or for next year.
Yeah, well, let's not discuss that.
So yeah, it'll be good.
I'll be on top this week. After this week, I'll be back on top.
Yeah, let's see.
What I do. That's what I do.
Now it's getting harder because our games are dwindling down in the Big Ten to pick. So it's going to be tough. We'll have a Big Ten champion. Then we got to do all the bowls, man. That'll be a lot of fun picking some bowls when we get that up. So then we'll have to pick the playoffs. So that'll be fun. We'll do a night with that. So here, look at next week, week 11, guys. Man, this season has gone fast. 10 weeks already by us, and here we are, week 11. We got Maryland and Indiana.
I'm going Indiana.
Yep. All right, I'm with you, Jimmy. All right. If you're looking online, folks, and you're listening, by the way, you go to lionslive.com. Our picks are up there live on our website, and quite literally, as I'm adding them in here, you're going to be able to see them. So. DJ Dozier also picked Indiana, and Yakov and Stefan.
I'm gonna go with Maryland.
Yeah, me too. I'm going with Maryland too.
Really?
Okay.
They got a lot going on. Okay, there you go.
Right now, dude.
Second place, big dude. I like it. Big dude.
I'm making up somewhere, man. Like speed racing, man. You know what I mean? It's like speed racing, man.
Speed race.
Don't act like y'all too young to remember speed racing either, man.
I remember the cartoons, buddy.
You got you.
Good old days, right? Hey, now here we go. Now this one will be interesting. Let's see what maybe Yakov wants to lead us off. Illinois and Nebraska.
Come on, Cole.
Until I see the crystal ball.
Let me do it. Man, I'm going to Nebraska, man. He waiting too long. I'm going to Nebraska. He got his computer out.
Nebraska's on Nebraska. Nebraska's on Nebraska.
Yeah. That's who I already picked. If you're looking online, you're going to see.
Hey, listen to this, though. Nebraska house. See, look.
And it's says,
I got Nebraska.
Well, okay. Well, DJ picked Illinois, so you're going.
Oh,
yeah. So you
going with the bearded one.
Yeah.
Let me set me back a little bit.
Okay.
So,
so you're picking Nebraska. So you got Nebraska, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's do Nebraska.
All right, so Stefan, you in on that one too, Stefan?
Of course.
Yeah, I got you. Now this one will be interesting. Here we got Northwestern and Iowa. And DJ came in. DJ picked Northwestern I'm going to step out here first early in this one, and I'll say I'm picking Iowa.
Ooh.
It's at Iowa.
I'm going Iowa too. I'm going Iowa too.
We're all in on Iowa.
I got Northwestern.
Oh, really? Oh, your coach's going Northwestern? Okay.
Yeah, you know I gotta hold on to something.
Okay.
Yeah, you are the bottom. That's it. That's what you hold on to, the bottom. I gotta hold on to something. You are last place. That's what you hold on to. Already gained ground. 3 games. Maryland, Inland, Nebraska. Oh no, you picked Nebraska.
Maryland and Northwestern. Okay.
All right, here you go.
Okay, you guys. Okay. All right, Cove. I mean, instead of being 3 games out, you may be 5. So we'll see. I mean, let me ask you, Cove, and I love you, buddy. I'm just wondering. Tell me, do you pick these games purely based upon geographic location, or is it actually looking at how they play? Help me out. I just sense that there's this longing from home, that this geographic location that brings back warm, fuzzy memories that makes you pick them instead of looking at how they're playing. So help us understand, buddy. Help us understand, brother.
Look. Wait a minute, though. I think Maryland beat Texas.
Okay.
So who did Indiana beat?
Well, I don't know. Who did they?
I don't know.
Well, last week, you mean?
But Texas is at least right.
Oh, wow. What?
Texas is a ranked team. Hold on.
They're top 30?
Hold on. Wait a minute. Let me look at Texas. Hold on.
And you're finding these
Texas
teams.
is ranked 19. We're ranked 19.
Really?
They're ranked 19. Maryland beat them.
Which Texas?
34-29.
Okay, now which Texas is it? The Hook'em Horns? Are you talking Tech? Or are you talking A&M? Or which Texas?
They beat Texas with Hook'em Horns.
Hook'em Horns, okay.
They beat Hook'em Horns to open the game, but they had the last 2 years in a row. But then they get the mid-season, man, they're not out. Right?
I was wondering why Texas would be ranked that high.
It's not a bad pick, though. I can't tell you what to play.
Hey, we got to go with the facts, though.
Okay. All right.
I mean, but Maryland does the same thing. You got to pick out at the quarterback. So don't let you get this so far, is it?
Well,
you ready? Oh, we're getting y'all right now.
Okay, yeah. What else is teaching identification? This is the last one of this.
We got Ohio State.
no.
Who playing next? Yeah, who you got?
Well, I'm going to bring it up here, but we have that thing called a hard break coming up here. And
okay, cool.
Up here in just a few seconds, folks. So you're actually listening to Lions live on our Forever Lions network. The network will all the players for the fans. You got the big dude, Stephen Davis, Jacob Israel, the Grizz, Jimmy Kennedy. My name's Skip Drobowitz. We just asked you to stand right by here for station ID.
And Magnum Broadcasting. We gave away $10,000 last year, and we're looking to do it again this year. It's Kickoff Cash 2018.
At 106.3 FM and 970 AM. WPLF Bellefonte State College. 292 EZ. Altoona Bellefonte State College. Local news, sport.
All right, folks, we're back here to Lions Live here at Station ID break, talking Penn State football with Jimmy Kennedy, the Grizz. You got the big dude, Stephen Davis, Jacob Israel. My name's Skip Drobowitz here. We're doing our picks here tonight, and we're up here to Purdue and Minnesota.
I gotta go with Purdue. Minnesota will play well, but not well enough. I'm going to shoot the fire in big dude.
Yeah, I'm on that one too, and so is DJ. DJ's picking Purdue. They've been playing some good ball, man. I think they're on a roll here. Going to finish out well, I think. So then we move on to this one. So moving right along here, we got down our last 3 picks here. We got Michigan and Rutgers, and I don't think that's one hard to pick.
I think it's the Wolverines.
Yeah, you think so?
So we got a consensus.
Yeah, I can't see them losing to Rutgers.
Yeah, I'm going Wolverines with that.
The record is actually improving, but that doesn't mean it's going to win.
No, not against these guys. Not against these guys. I think.
I don't know what it goes.
Yeah, it's going to be a.
Like I said, they're running back Isaiah Pacheco. That is what I've been up there. I've seen him play quarterback at Baldwin High School. Just a tremendous player, but he doesn't play nothing plays. So.
Well, here's another one that'll be interesting to shake down how it plays out. We got Ohio State and Michigan State. Nice rivalry there.
That's going to be a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good game.
Yes, it will be.
Michigan State doesn't look too much for me, man. I think it'll be a good game. I always think Ohio State's going to win. I think they're a little bit better now.
Yep, I'm with you on that one. Yeah, I'm picking Ohio State myself.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, I do.
Yeah, and Jimmy, I know Ohio State's your favorite team. You're gonna stick with them.
So we got Ohio State. What's name? Michigan, right?
Michigan State.
Yeah.
Michigan State.
Oh, Michigan State.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm going Ohio State on that one. Yeah. So who Michigan played this week?
Rutgers.
Yeah, we just picked them. Rutgers.
Oh, okay, all right, cool. Yeah, I was just making sure.
Yeah, I mean,
right.
it's at even though it's at Ohio State's playing at Michigan State, 12 o'clock kickoff out there at East Lansing. But even though Michigan State's home, I don't see Ohio State losing. Just don't see them playing. They're playing okay, not great, but they're playing good enough to beat them. So, and of course, that brings us down here to Penn State, Wisconsin. And I'm going to step out on this one. I'll start out right away, and I hope Penn State shows me wrong, and I believe they can. Penn State could win this game. I just don't right now. With what I witnessed last week, I don't know how they're going to try to put it together with the personnel. And this is the way I'm picking it: Wisconsin 24, Penn State 17, and I think Wisconsin's going to do the same thing Michigan did. They're going to just come at you on the ground and force you to stop them. And I don't think that's something we're going to be able to do. And I think it's going to be difficult. We have a quarterback who's injured because he's not going to be 100%. And I don't think Coach Frank and them are going to be able to put it all together and how they can try to make it happen offensively. That's just where I think we're at right now.
All right. Yeah.
That's a tough pick.
What you thinking, big dude?
Hey, man, I'm thinking whatever you thinking, man.
Give me some.
Don't even try live score. I'm trying to figure out live score.
DJ, by the way, well, I'll tell you what. DJ Dozer's picking Penn State 35 and Wisconsin 17. I just don't see that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, DJ, faithful. You know what, though? If we play like we're supposed to play, I think that's going to come down to it.
I think, I believe that is good. That's a good score if Trace McSorley was not hurt. If he was not injured, I believe DJ picked the right score. Because of his injury situation, I don't see it playing that way right now. And we saw that last week. They're not going to be able to put a game plan together with it. They're going to try to piecemeal it, and I don't see it happening.
Well, here's what I say. I still think we're going to have a chance to win. We'll have a chance to win, but I can't say that we're going to. And maybe don't run the ball. I think that the issue that we're going to run into is I think we'll be in the game. We can't. I just have a feeling that we just can't get the all match starting off like we're supposed to. We come back, we beat Iowa and other people after coming down 12-0. I just think that's going to be the thing that gets the bite us. So we got to stop spinning around and trying to figure out what the heck is going on. Now, we had a team that won the Big Ten a couple of years ago. You can start off like that and you have an explosive offense and everything else in here. We don't have that. Now, I mean, if you have an offense that can be explosive, but that's not what the issue is here. It's who can take care of the ball and who can take care of the clock. I mentioned it earlier. Me and Jimmy mentioned it earlier. I think we'll play a good ball game. I just don't think we're going to play good enough to win. I would say 28-24.
Okay.
Wisconsin.
Wow.
And I hated saying that.
Yeah.
But you know what? Y'all gotta show me something, man. I mean, just by understanding and growing up, you see nothing as good about yourself, and somebody can punch you in the head and get some consolation. You can't have this until you're saying. You can't play like it's a daggone consolation game, man.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah.
So I can't do it. And you know something? Show me wrong, man, and send me a tweet. You know, how about? Hey, I do agree with some of the tweets I saw from some of the former players. Season is not over. Here's what we got to understand. The season is not over. I don't care what happens on Saturday. It's not over. We got to see what happens. We got to see what we're going to develop into. Just based on what, not even just what I saw. It's, all the coaches would say like we lost the tempo one time. But it's funny how I lost the tempo, which I still can't believe we lost. I don't care how good tempo defense was this year. I mean, we ended up finding out. About that was my truck here. We ended up finding out about Saquon Barkley.
Right.
So let's see if there's good stuff that can be found out from this.
Right. There's a lot to be learned. Absolutely. Okay. Well, Yakov, Jimmy.
What's up?
I said between you two guys.
I'll go ahead. I would say, I still feel it's still something to fight for, and I feel it's going to be a low-scoring game, and I'm going to go with 10-17, Wisconsin 14.
Wow. Okay.
But I'm going 24-10 Wisconsin.
Good score, Jimmy.
Good score. Yeah, give me a chance. Wait a minute, dude. I get it.
All right, 13.
No, you're right, Jimmy. I think you're right in the range, man. I think that's right where you're at. I think you're right where we're at. Yeah, I had him at 24-17. So, yeah, I think that's where we're at. So it's gonna be a great game. It's gonna be cold weather. It's that time of year up here now, guys. Where those last few games up here, where it is just cold, and it's gonna change from today. The rain stopped yesterday. We're dry day today. Dry day tomorrow. Don't know about the weather coming in for the weekend, but I do know it's going to be cold. We're talking weather back in the 30s and 40s. So it is that time where you freeze out there. The ground is not as soft, and it's getting hard. So that's where we're at.
Wow.
Yeah, it's that time of year, man. It is tough ball, and this is the time of year the ball's harder to catch when you're passing. Let's face it, it's cold out there.
Hey, this is the time of the year where you're supposed to be running the ball, keeping the clock going.
Right.
Well, get the win and get out of there.
That's right. Get back in the locker room, get a shower, man. Get a hot.
Get the lead and let's call it a game.
Yeah, right on. Let's hope that happens. Yeah, we all want Penn State to win, folks. Don't ever get that's about us here, man. We love Penn State. We love our teammates, the current players out there, and our past. We want Penn State to win. We're all about that. I know sometimes we may be picking here. This is just picks, folks. We're just looking at the data. We're looking at what we see, and we're making predictions. But, our predictions are going pretty good, guys. If people was betting money, man, they'd be banking it with us. So none of us are picking bad this year. So you can bank on us. Folks.
Yeah. It was just like one of my mentors passed away about 10 years ago. And I heard a story about him. The guy was the nicest guy in the world, but he had a guy that used him for reference for a big coaching job, right? The guy went in, and it was a big coaching job at a big school. But they told him at the end of the interview is you interview well, but your supervisor didn't give you that favorable reference. So the guy was devastated. He went back to campus, and I went to it. Was in the office. The guy came back and said to him, "Hey man, I can't believe you wrote me a poor reference, man. What are you trying to do? You trying to stop my career? What's the problem?" And my mentor, he stands up, he puts his hand on the Bible and says, "Sorry, man, I love you too much." I'm like, "What?" I said, "Sorry." I love you. But I didn't do what he was saying. That's what he was saying. I love you too much to lie. So, those players, fellow brothers on that field, I love you too much.
Well
I can't
said.
picture. You know why?
Well,
Because I love you too much.
well said, brother. Well said. Love it, man. That's great. That's great. Couldn't be any better than that, man. That is awesome.
Kind of hurt me, right?
Yeah, that's good. I like that. I like that. Great way to wrap it up. Anybody else? Any party comments? You want to call it a wrap tonight?
Hey, listen, I just want Penn State to prove me wrong
Yes.
and go out there and play the way they're capable of playing.
Right.
I mean, it's not just about the fact that it's our alma mater and we want to see them doing well. You know, not just. I mean, they're already doing well. You know, in school. You know, so on the field, off the field, we want to see those guys do well. But for bragging rights, man, you know how many DMs and messages I got from this Michigan game and stuff? I'm like, my dentist went to Michigan. I was getting messages from my dentist.
Oh.
Like, really, guys? Come on.
Yeah. That's
Now, I would say with Wisconsin, you know, it's one of those games where you love, you know what they're going to do, you know what they're about, and they're just going to be about that. We got to strap it up. I think that's going to be the main thing. Is we got to play a physical game because there's not a whole lot of finesse going on. You know, it's going to be a lot of, you know, attacking, you know, power, you know, all that type of stuff. So we just got to be ready to bring it. We got to be ready to bring it. So,
absolutely.
yeah, that's how I would go with it. Just we got to bring it.
Right. Right. Yep. My advice is basics, guys. Basics. Discipline and basics. Don't make stupid mistakes, and make some plays, make some turnovers happen, and you know you can actually come up with a win here. But I hope that happens. I just don't personally see it, but we all hope for that best. So, all that being said,
And what I say is we skip out. The only thing I ask Coach Franklin and Wally Richardson in the county organization, please don't put out letters fast like you're going to put skips on it.
they didn't throw me out of the lounge yet, man. They didn't throw me off the sidelines yet.
And yet is a big word.
Yeah.
With a yellow and all caps. Yeah.
Oh man, no, they know I love them. I want nothing but the best.
You do. Yeah, that's the truth.
All right, guys, that's a wrap, man. That's an awesome show. And folks, it's the greatest time of the year talking Penn State football, having more fun than we should be allowed to have here. Love all you guys. Thank you so much for joining us, folks. On behalf of the Grizz, Jimmy Kennedy, the big dude, Stephen Davis, Jacob Israel. Sorry, DJ Dozier couldn't be with us tonight. He will be with us next week. He told me, and we'll look forward to talking Penn State football. Hopefully a win over Wisconsin here. Those coming in to the game here this weekend, drive safe, folks. We love you. We're blessed you. Keep you, make his face shine upon you. We'll see you then. That's a wrap, guys. Great job. Have a good night, everybody.
Nice.
And we'll get right back in our regular program. You've been listening to Lions Live on the Magnum Broadcast and the Forever Lions Network. Have a good night.
You don't see the president talking about him or talking to him. And Chris Christie, you know, he's not around very much. So
do you buy it all
so
into
that's
this?
the one piece of good news.
There's this theory out there that's been percolating. I don't buy into it for a few reasons, but people are raising it again because you mentioned Nikki Haley.
Many people are saying
Lindsey Graham to AG, Nikki Haley into that South Carolina Senate seat.
It wouldn't surprise me. I mean, nothing would surprise me. It's not even that crazy.
No.
You know, and Lindsey Graham, there are some things he